what? I'll cover this one good time. Came out about a day ago, so I'll cover this one good time. And shout out my man Monty. Hitting us with the 2. He says, watch this S.E.T. 7 more years. Now let's see here.
This is Don Lemon, the former CNN anchor turned independent journalist. 12 days after live streaming a protest at City's Church in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Don Lemon was arrested for his alleged participation. Here's Don Lemon's attorney, Abby Lowell.
So he lives in New York. It's not Minneapolis. He's going to Los Angeles to do his job, which is to cover, in this case, the Grammys this weekend. They wait until he's in Los Angeles. That's not enough. They waited until 11:30 at night when he was coming back for doing what he does in the lobby of a hotel.
Gee, why didn't they arrest him when it was more convenient for Don Lemon? Damn you, Donald Trump!
It's bad enough that magistrate judges turned you down when you tried to file charges against him earlier. It's bad enough that you tried to appeal it and you got turned down again. And you had to go for a third try. And Lord knows what you did to conjure up the charges to justify you arresting this man in Beverly Hills.
Conjure up? I mean, nah, he just took it to a grand jury. And that was it. I mean, he got the indictment. That's all he had to do. He had to take it to a jury of his peers and be like, hey, this look guilty to you. They said, okay, and great. We can now indict him. That's all they needed. That's all they needed, bro. Was a grand jury indictment. I'm sorry, bro. That's all they needed. Like, nothing else, nothing more. That they could, yes, they can go around the judge, but if they can get a jury to indict him, it is what it is.
While he was working the Grammys, by the way.
Oh no! Not Don Lemon's Grammy coverage. Whatever will we do without it? But don't worry. After Lemon's arrest, he was invited to the Grammys as a guest, along with his white husband. As far as the protest case goes, a grand jury ultimately found that there was enough cause to arrest Lemon. And of course, the method of that arrest was criticized.
And not 1, not 2, not 3, but the bevy of agents surround and take him away. Don thought he was being mugged because he has been controversial, and he actually thought some crazy people on the right might be stalking him.
He thought he was being mugged by a bevy of agents with FBI written in giant yellow letters underneath.
And this is why we don't believe you liberals when they say ICE put up on us unidentified. I couldn't tell who they were, man. Shut your lying ass up, bro. Because now even Don Lemon is using the same lie. Well, I thought I was getting mugged by a bunch of guys in FBI jackets or by a bunch of guys in like tactical uniform. Like, I'm sorry, but no, you didn't. You knew what was going on. And that's the problem. It's like when you allow libs to sit here and lie and say, oh, I couldn't tell if that was an ICE officer or not. I couldn't tell if that was FBI. Bro, stop the cap, bro. Please stop the bullshit. We are smarter than that. I'm telling you that right now. Nobody's believing you. So please.
Stop the cap. Breakers? Yeah, sure. And of course, Don Lemon finds a way to cast himself as the victim of a right-wing conspiracy, all while being handcuffed for his own documented actions. Anyway, Don Lemon was quickly released without bail and held a press conference.
Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I'd been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do.
Notice the whole middle of the night framing. It was 11:30 p.m. in Los Angeles during Grammy week. That's basically happy hour for media elites. And Lemon's I'm a martyr for democracy speech was high on drama and low on truth and facts, perfectly tailored for an MS Now highlight reel, just like the following clip of journalist Georgia Fort, who was also arrested for her participation in the storming of the church.
Well, this is really scary. There's kids in the house. You guys have not been really friendly in the community. And to me, this seems a little, can I finish, sir? Can I finish? Can I finish?
Get your phone.
This seems a little bit aggressive to have all these cars in our cul-de-sac, 2, 3 agents, and now I saw the one disappear to the back. So to me, this is a little aggressive to just serve a warrant.
It's funny how she had a whole Karen moment. Like, anybody notice that? This woman is literally, bro, lady, you broke a law. They're outside to arrest your ass. You've been going like, well, look, you're not doing this nicely enough, and you're disturbing our neighbors, and I have 3 children in here, and you guys could have been nicer about this. I'm like, woman, step your ass outside. You're going to jail. What are you talking about? You're cooked. Now you're going to jail.
Watching, I would say that is more than a little aggressive myself. She has kids in the house. They're serving a war. Why does that need to happen? Why is that how it's being done? It's terrifying. Of course it is.
What? What? I'm sorry. That is so funny, though. It's like, bro, y'all treat yourselves as if you're above average citizens. You ever notice how they kind of act like if they're above average citizens, if they're above approach? Like, I'm sorry, but if you break a law like an average citizen, you're going to get arrested and pulled up on like an average citizen. They're like, what, you think they should have treated her differently? Like, why they did it when the kids are there? Well, we supposed to wait till the dad comes up on the weekends to arrest her? Like, what?
You can't serve an arrest warrant when kids are in the house. What did Jen Psaki expect, a singing telegram?
I leave this federal courthouse today with one question. Do we have a constitution?
Or not?
Do we have a constitution? That is the pressing question that should be on the front of everyone's mind.
So the journalist who trampled on the constitutional rights of churchgoers asks ironically, do we have a constitution? F***ing clown world. So Don Lemon, Georgia Fort, and the rest of the protesters were charged with 1 count of conspiracy against right of religious freedom at a place of worship.
Which they did. I mean, let's be real. Don Lemon tried to act like he didn't know, but he knew. And then let's be real. He could have sat outside and said, well, y'all going into the church? Whoa. I'm not doing that. I will stay out here. And he could have not gotten involved in that protest. But his ass walked in there with the rest of them, just like that young light-skinned lady did as well. And they end up getting charged because of it. Why? Because they were basically participating in the protests. I mean, I know Don Lemon was out there trying to talk to people inside the church, but he was disturbing the church. He was disturbing a place of worship, trying to get in the pastor's face while he's trying to bring order to his congregation. Can't do that when you have a camera and mic in your face and Don Lemon is just leaning in on your ass. Pretty hard to do.
And 1 count of injuring, intimidating, and interfering with exercise of right of religious freedom at place of worship.
On what basis does this...
And guys, if you don't know the law that he broke the FACE Act. Like, guys, you are not allowed to coerce or intimidate people at a place of worship. Now, Don Lemon going in there and, I'm gonna be real with you, getting in their face, these people protesting, getting in their face, recording them, that could be seen as intimidation or coercion not to practice your freedom of speech because you're going to be afraid that crazy liberals are just going to pull up every day just to scream in your face. That's why you can't do that, because you're violating their First Amendment rights. And that's what Don Lemon was doing with those churchgoers, violating their First Amendment rights of freedom of religion by going in there and intimidating them and seeing them, maybe coercing them not to practice their religion. But really, though, it's really they were shaming them because, oh, well, how could you approve of this as a Christian? Look what ICE is doing, bro. Shut up. That's outside of what's going on. You're trying to get mad at Christians for what? Not going out there and getting themselves shot for ICE? Like, please spare us. But yeah, though, it's the FACE Act. It's a federal law prohibiting the use of force, threat of force, or physical obstruction to injure, intimidate, or interfere with anyone obtaining or providing, that's freedom. FACE Act. Wrong one. But anyone, there we go. But anyone expressing their freedom of speech or freedom of religion. I mean, right there. And I know people want to say the Klan Act as well. I mean, you can also throw the Klan Act in there if you want to, but it's mainly that. Like, you can't just go in there to a person's place of worship and just start protesting disruption. You can go in there, and sit down quietly and worship with them, and nobody's gonna have a problem with that. You can sit out there and protest outside the church. Nobody's gonna have a problem with that. But until you step in there protesting, disrupting, yeah, you crossed the line there, buddy. You crossed the line.
Administration conclude that these two were participants and not journalists. There's no law, there's no set definition. Each says they were reporting. Each has a history and pattern of reporting. Both have reported and announced themselves as such consistently before, during, and after the church event.
Well, for starters, Chris Cuomo, the indictment makes the case that Lemon and Fort crossed the line between journalist and participant. Over Act number 6. During a discussion with defendant Nikema Levy Armstrong at the pre-op briefing, defendant Lemon thanked defendant Armstrong for what she was doing and assured her that he was not saying what's going on.
And that's why they went there. No, this guy's right. There was an ICE agent who goes to that church, and that's why they started razzing that church. Do you see what I mean? Why ICE officers wear masks? Dog, you just proved my point. Thank you. Thank you. This is why they wear masks, because you will dox them and you will go harass people around them. Thank you for proving my point. Oh my God, bro, wherever you are, you're a dumbass, but thank you for proving my point that you guys will go and harass other people just off them being connected to an ICE officer, and you're wondering why they're wearing masks. Like, it should be that simple. Like, look what bro just said. Look what they just did. This is why they wear ice masks. And I mean, bro, God and his job and God has two completely different things, bro. You can't sit there and try to fuse into Christian religion with law, because law and religion are never going to go hand in hand. It just is what it is. There's a reason why we have a separation of church and state, because if we're going by the church to represent the state or the laws, it's not going to be fair for everybody. And I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you guys. It's just not going to be fair, and it's not going to be the democracy or the constitutional republic that we know. Well, constitutional republic, not a democracy.
IE was not disclosing the target of the operation.
Okay.
How are you?
Good.
To see you. We're on. We're not saying what it is, what's going on, but thank you.
Defendant Armstrong explained that Operation Pull-Up was a clandestine operation in which she and other agitators would show up somewhere that is a key location where the targets don't expect us, and we disrupt business as usual. That's what we're about to go do right now.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now.
I mean, you know, it's crazy. I think she says she's a lawyer and a priest. So a lawyer and a priest should have known better than to walk into a church, which would be violating the FACE Act and protesting in there. It's like you walked into a church and started protesting and disturbing, and that's a violation of the FACE Act, not actually walking in. So sorry about that. But yeah, and she's a lawyer and a priest, and this is what she said, came out of her own mouth. So how do you make a mistake like this? Don Lemon, you've been in the game for years. You should have known this was bad, like decades, and you did this dumbass shit? Crazy.
And defendant Lemon said he would see her there.
How long do you think before this operation before it takes place?
We got to go now.
All right, let's go ahead and catch up to the super chat. Sorry, guys. Shout out to my man Hellbad. How many people see the lawsuit by a detransitioner in New York that has so far been successful? It's most likely going to appeals, but it's estimated 1.6 million. Hey man, whoever that detransitioner is, they're in my prayers, man. They better get their money. Shout out to Jet. He got a white boy. He said he got a white boy should know how to act with feds. Yep, that's also true. And damn, shout out my man Mons. He said, damn, Tylenol Americans. Damn. Tylenol Americans.
Let's go.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you there.
Overt Act number 7. Before heading to the church to join his co-conspirators, defendant Lemon advised his live stream audience that we're going to head to the operation. Again, we're not going to give any information away, i.e. operational details that would disclose where he and his co-conspirators were heading.
So we're going to go to the operation again. We're not going to give any of the information away.
Now, to a normal person, that sounds like a co-conspirator. But to the activist media, that's just standard operating procedure. In fact, CNN's Dana Bash actually tried to Compare Don Lemon helping a group of agitators sneak into a church to a military journalist embedding with the troops. I'm not kidding.
There are countless examples of when reporters are embedded with people with, DOD, where we are told not to tell anybody where we're going. There are numerous examples of when we get embargoed information that we can't report from your agency, for example, and that has happened on with presidents in both parties, and we withhold reporting it until you say it's time to report it. That's not unusual, and it's not unlike what happened with Don Lemon and Georgia Ford.
Oh, Dana, there's a massive legal and ethical canyon between a military embargo and what Don Lemon was doing. Yeah. When a reporter embeds with the military, they are keeping secrets to protect the lives of soldiers from enemy fire. What Don Lemon was doing was keeping secrets to protect his fellow agitators. Overt act number 5. Lemon took steps to maintain operational secrecy by reminding certain co-conspirators to not disclose the target of the operation.
Without giving away what the operation is. Why are you out here? Thank you. You're on right now, just so you know. But so don't give anything away. No.
Lemon stepped away momentarily so his mic would not accidentally divulge certain portions of the planning session.
Yeah, I turned our camera off of them because they're giving some critical information here.
So basically, the government is accusing Don Lemon of conspiring with the protesters. He knew the details ahead of time, and he kept them a secret.
We can't say too much. We don't want to give it up.
If you're a journalist, your job is to report the who, what, where, and when. But Don was treating it like a surprise party for his husband. If you're actively concealing the location of a crime to ensure that it succeeds, you're not a reporter, you're a lookout.
So on Saturday, I posted a flyer about this action with no details other than show up at the Cub Foods parking lot if you want to participate.
So
Saturday night,
y'all did this in the name of Martin Luther King, a Christian whose past is a bit shaky, but let's just go with the original story. Well-to-do Christian, and y'all went in there and y'all disturbed a whole bunch of other Christians. And then that's so crazy to me. It's like, bro, y'all don't see where that's wrong. Y'all don't see where disturbing other churchgoers. I mean, you wouldn't want nobody to go into your church and do that, but all of a sudden you think it's okay to go up in their church because of what? Your political ideology, because you hate ICE so much, you think that it's okay to what? Go up in an ICE officer church and violate their freedom of speech? Like, do you see where you guys went a bit too far now? To the point where you're willing to violate other people's privacy, freedom of speech, rights, just because of ICE? Just because you disagree with what ICE is doing? I mean, then you want to talk about Constitution. It's like, really?
I got a call from Don asking about this protest. And I said, listen, I can't reveal any information about this protest. He said he would be heading into town on Sunday. I'm like, I have to treat you like everyone else. I cannot reveal any information about it because I don't want it to leak.
So Nikema Levy Armstrong, the lead organizer of the protest, claims that she posted this flyer on Instagram, and Don Lemon just happened to see it and was like, give me the details, Nikema. Nikema was like, nope, can't tell you. And he was like, I'll be on the next flight to Minneapolis and I'll see you there. Yep, makes sense to me. What's your problem?
He didn't even know we were going to a church. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay.
I gave people an address and said, meet us here. And
you get... Hey guys, you know, when you put in an address, right, you put it inside your GPS, doesn't it pull up the building or what that address is? If it's a house, it'll just say a house. If it's a place of business, it'll tell you that place of business. If it's a church, it will tell you it's a fucking... Sorry, it will tell you it's a church. I'm sorry, but that's irritating. It's like, how dumb do you think people are? Like, really? Like, I sent them an address, and that's not really sent. Like, you sent them the address. You know what that means? Don Lemon had the ability to look this address up, put it into Google Maps, and find out that it was a church. Easy as that. Like, really?
I am not going to tell you where we're going. You just have to meet us at this address, and when we get there, you'll know what the situation is.
Meet us
So
at the
Nikema
address.
is claiming,
yeah, I'm gonna meet you at the address. And this is what Don Lemon should have do. Yeah, I'm gonna meet you at the address. Great. Put the address into Google. Comes up as a church. I'm just calling like, whoa. Are we going like what's up with this whole church thing? What y'all doing with the church? Oh, we'll be going inside of it and protesting in their face. Yeah, I can't do that. Cannot do that. Instead, you put the GPS, you put it in your GPS. It most likely told you it was a church. You pulled up to the church anyway and proceeded inside with them. There really is no escape for you, buddy. You're cooked.
that Don Lemon and the others were some sort of blind followers. But that doesn't hold up to scrutiny, because the moment they were provided that address and punched it into their smartphones, they'd know the location was a church. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if they knew details about it days in advance or 5 minutes prior, because after finding out that the target was a church, they still walked in to disrupt a religious service.
That's the bottom line.
Okay.
I knew the church. I knew the name. I knew about David Easterwood, the ICE director, also serving as a pastor there, but he had no idea.
Okay.
Okay. That's it? That's your follow-up, Chris? Instead of any pushback, Chris...
Bro, Cuomo, really, bro? Cuomo, you know she guilty. Like, bro, she just said it right in your face. Like, they knew they were going into a church. They didn't care. Apparently, she's a lawyer and she forgot that that's illegal. But it is what it is. Let's hear it again. Let's hear it again, because I love the self-snitching.
To disrupt a religious service.
That's the bottom line.
Okay.
I knew the church. I knew the name. I knew about David Easterwood, the ICE director, also serving as a pastor there.
Guilty. That nigga is guilty.
But he had no idea.
Okay.
Okay. That's it? That's your follow-up, Chris?
Okay.
Instead of any pushback.
Oh, you're just going into the church to violate people's freedom of speech? Okay.
Chris Cuomo just nods along like he's listening to a weather report.
He had no idea what we were going to do. I am a very tight-lipped person when it comes to my organizing. So no one, not a single person other than my co-organizers had any idea where we were going, what we were going to do. They didn't even know what was going to happen once we got inside the location. I waited for God.
She waited for God. Well, apparently God's plan involved violating federal law and disrupting a worship service. Funny how divine intervention always seems to align perfectly with whatever the radical left feels like doing. Or maybe she's going for an insanity defense. I don't know.
I don't like what happened at or inside that Minnesota church. I don't like the arrest of 2 journalists. I think it only makes the situation worse.
Worse for who? Cuomo's trying to frame this as a PR blunder by the DOJ, when in reality, it's a rare moment of the government actually enforcing the law equally.
We do know that the government is claiming that Don attended a pre-operational briefing before they entered the church.
Claiming? He's literally on tape attending that briefing.
Does that make him part of it?
Yes.
They say he tried to keep details about the protest secret on his live stream. I've seen the clip. It indicates that. That's a bad fact for him. It shows potential bias, bad judgment.
It's not just bad judgment. If a reporter embeds with a crime organization.
And shout out to my man Monty for sending 22 on Venmo, which is any support sent on Venmo is double. So that 22 is now 44. And I do believe, well, that's exactly what we had left. So shout out to my man Monty for opening up the call-in lines. And like I said, guys, any support sent to Venmo is double towards the call-in. Oh, and you guys can also hit the Venmo by scanning the QR code up there. If you ever wondered what that was for, well, that's what it was for. So shout out to my man Monty. I'm go ahead and get this call-in line open now. Now, guys, this is, I do want some of you naysayers to come up here and debate me on. You could debate me on Don Lemon. You could debate me on ICE, Renee Good, and Alex Preddy. I'll be happy to hear you guys out. I'll give you guys the floor uninterrupted. I just want to hear y'all thoughts on this. I like hearing both sides out. So let's go ahead and get to it.
And live streams the bank robbery and tells their audience, I'm not going to tell you which bank because we don't want to give up the operation. You're not winning a Peabody. You're probably going to prison.
Bruh.
It's called being an accessory.
Would I have made the same choices that were made by Don at the church? No. I think there's a reason.
Enough said. No, bro, enough said. That's it. Would I have made the same choices as a journalist? No. Done. That's what you got to say, bro.
There was not more media inside, though they may have been outside. I think there's a reason this is the first time we've ever seen anything like this. I don't think I've ever worked anywhere that would have been okay with me going inside with people that I suspected intended to do something illegal.
And there it is. Even Chris Fredo Cuomo, the man who once coached his brother on how to dodge harassment scandals, admits that no legitimate news organization would touch this. When you're too unethical for Chris Cuomo, you haven't just crossed the line, you've left the atmosphere.
Bro.
But in either instance,
across the line, man, bro, you done jumped over, hit it with a somersault at a certain point. It's like you just did not care.
It would still make me a journalist. It would probably make me a fired journalist if I did something that offended standard and practice at every place I've ever worked. Not agreeing with a journalist's choices, however, does not justify taking their freedom to report.
Wait, did you catch that? Cuomo admits that what Don Lemon did would get a reporter fired by any legitimate news organization for violating basic standards. But then he leaps to the conclusion that the government is trying to take away his freedom to report. No one arrested Don Lemon for his choices as a journalist. They arrested him for his actions as a participant. He could face up to 11 years in prison for his crimes, but we all know that Don Lemon will never be convicted because no one is above the law or something.
I mean, bro, look, according to these FBI leakers, man, we ain't about to get a damn thing when it comes to deep state arrests, but we'll get into that a little bit later. In the meantime, go ahead and let's see here. No, actually, let me go ahead and leave you guys off on that video because, you know, I'm just such a nice guy. Such a nice guy. But all right. Shout out to my man, James O'Keefe. Go ahead and take a quick little break real quick. I'll be right back to bring in my man, Monty and Gaming, because I see y'all there in the background. All right, here. Oh, shout out to my man Monty. If you ever hire me, I would really like my job title to be Master Debater and Chief Narrator and Chief Narrative Destroyer. I ain't gonna lie, Chief Narrative Destroyer is code. That is code. I am the Chief Narrative Destroyer. Like, bro, just come in with a binder full of information to destroy all the narratives. You got CNN and like ABC dudes shaking in their boots, like, oh no, not him. All right. But let's get into my man James O'Keefe, and then we're gonna